Have you ever stood in a room full of applause, knowing none of it was meant for the person they were clapping for? Because I have. And it was applause for my invention, my work, my years of testing, failing, and obsessing, while she stood on that stage, smiling like the genius behind it all. She wasn't. She was my aunt, Vanessa, and that smile? It was built on a lie. Let me back up. I'm Jade, 21 years old. I've always been obsessed with building things that solve real problems. When I created a wearable that could detect health risks before they became dangerous, it felt like I'd built something that could truly help people. But success brings shadows. And in mine was Vanessa, a mentor who offered to help launch my product. She had the industry contacts, the charisma, and the stage. I had the prototype. It was supposed to be our moment. But when the lights came on and the screen behind her lit up with my design, my name was nowhere. And the moment she opened her mouth, I knew. She was going to take all the credit. Every last bit. So I did the only thing I could. I took the mic. Ever built something so personal, so game-changing, that you swore you'd protect it with your life? I did. In my garage. Just me, a clunky soldering iron, a coffee-stained notebook, and a dream that refused to let me sleep. It started small. I wanted to create a wearable that didn't just track your steps or sleep. I wanted it to predict health issues before they happened. Heart irregularities, dehydration levels, even stress-induced warning signs. I coded every line. I soldered every sensor. I tested it on myself every single day for a year. And it worked. I wore the prototype everywhere, even at school. Then one random night, I posted a short clip on TikTok, just me showing the readings on the device while jogging. It blew up. 2 million views in 48 hours. Suddenly, people were DMing me asking when it was launching. Health influencers were stitching the video. It was unreal. And that's when Vanessa called. She hadn't really been around much since I turned 18. But suddenly, she was so proud and wanted to help. She had connections. Lawyers. Investors. Let me guide you, she said. You focus on creating. I'll handle the business. And I bought it. Every word. I mean, she was family. But here's the thing about trust. Once it's broken, you start replaying every conversation in your head, and nothing sounds the same anymore. Because when the launch day came, my name wasn't on a single slide. You ever hear a room explode with applause and feel like it's punching you in the stomach? That's what it felt like. I was standing backstage, behind the thick black curtain, watching Vanessa step into the spotlight like she was some kind of tech queen. She wore this sleek white suit, hair slicked back, holding my prototype like it was an accessory she picked out that morning. And the screen behind her? Displaying every slide I made, every diagram I drew by hand, even my tagline. She didn't change a thing. Just swapped out my name for hers. And the worst part? She was good at it. She knew how to sell it. The crowd laughed at her opening joke. They nodded at her vision for the future. She used my words. Lines I'd said in videos, in pitches, even in private texts. I felt frozen. Like my body didn't belong to me. Like maybe I was the one overreacting. Until my phone buzzed. A text from my friend Dylan sitting in the crowd. Did she just say she built that alone? That was the crack in the dam. And then it burst when I heard her say this. I came up with this idea during the pandemic. I built it from scratch. Took me 2 years. 2 years? Those were my 2 years. My sleepless nights. My data logs. I felt my legs move. I didn't have a plan. I just knew I was going on that stage. Have you ever walked into a spotlight knowing the next words out of your mouth could blow up everything? Because that's exactly what I did. I stepped onto that stage mid-sentence. Vanessa paused, mid-pitch, her eyes starting to me like I was a ghost. The crowd murmured, confused, curious. Some thought it was part of the presentation. It wasn't. I walked straight up to her, looked her dead in the eye, and said, loud enough for the mic to catch it, everyone deserves to know the truth. She tried to laugh it off. This is my niece, Jade. She helped a little in the early stages. Helped. A little. I didn't flinch. I turned to the crowd. She didn't build this. I did. Alone. For 2 years. I have proof. I held up my arm and showed the device, the prototype. But it wasn't the one in Vanessa's hand. Mine was version 2.0. Sleeker. Updated. I opened my laptop, connected it to the screen, and pulled up my GitHub logs, time-stamped. Design schematics. Test data. Photos from my garage. Even a video of me building the first model, with her standing in the background doing nothing but sipping wine. The room went silent. You could hear people shifting in their seats. Someone gasped. A couple phones were lifted. The bloggers had locked on. Then I turned back to Vanessa. She didn't blink. Didn't apologize. Instead, she leaned in and whispered something so cold, it made my blood stop. You ever have someone look you straight in the eye and smile like they own you? Vanessa leaned in close, her voice like a hiss only I could hear. You think you've won? You're just a kid. No one's going to back you after this mess. I almost laughed, not because it was funny, but because of how fast she switched. A second ago, she was playing the proud genius. Now, she was the puppet master pulling invisible strings. Then she said, I already filed a patent. You leaked proprietary tech. You'll be hearing from my lawyers. It was her backup plan, classic corporate intimidation. But what she didn't know. I had mine too. I turned back to the crowd. I didn't come here alone. Dylan, my best friend, was in the audience, still recording. But this time, he wasn't just streaming to his socials. He'd gone live on mine to over 200K followers. Every word. Every lie. Every receipt. Hashtag stolen by Vanessa was already trending. The organizers of the event looked pale. One of them pulled Vanessa aside. Another walked up to me, asking if I could stay behind and talk. Investors, the ones she was trying to impress, started moving toward me. Not her. Vanessa tried to hold it together. Smiled that brittle, fake smile. But I could see the panic creeping into her eyes. Still, none of that was the craziest part. Because 3 weeks later, I got a call that changed everything. You ever pick up the phone and hear something so surreal, you check if you're dreaming? 3 weeks after the expo chaos, my phone rang. Unknown number. Hi, is this Jade Emerson? I hesitated. Yes. This is Ava from the Ignite Future Fund. We saw what happened at TechNow. And we'd like to talk about a partnership. I nearly dropped the phone. This wasn't some random DM or half-baked sponsorship deal. Ignite was the innovation grant in the wearable tech world, and they were calling me. They'd seen the live stream. The receipts. The way I stood up for what I built. Vanessa? She tried to recover. Went full damage control mode. Released a weak apology video, all tears and excuses. Claimed it was a misunderstanding and that I misremembered our agreement. But the internet doesn't forget. People dug up emails. Old videos. Even my pitch deck, where my name was clearly on every single page. Her company? Investors pulled out. Her reputation tanked. Mine? I got funded. My prototype's now in development with a legit team behind me. And this time, my name's on everything. Funny, right? I thought I needed someone with power to believe in me. Turns out, I just needed to believe that speaking up, even when it shakes your voice, is worth it. So let me ask you something. If someone tried to rewrite your story, would you let them? Or would you take the mic? Because I did. And I'm never giving it back.